Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. My name is Timothy Ekwebelem. Today, I will continue from where I stopped and the title, The War of Viruses, Who Wins, Part 2. Coronavirus at war with the world. Is coronavirus at war with the world? Of course, coronavirus is at war with the world, and the world is warring against coronavirus, and coronavirus is warring against the world. Why is coronavirus winning this war? Coronavirus seems to be winning the world because there's a lot of people and a lot of casualties among the humans, among the world population. Many people have died and many people are still dying, and the world is battling and trying as much as possible to be able to hold down the enemy. And there's a lot of people that is in the front battle, waging this war, putting their blood along the line, just trying to save the world population. Government of various countries of the world trying as much as possible to be able to contain this unseen enemy called coronavirus COVID-19. In the earlier video, I mentioned that the COVID-19 is one of the newest coronaviruses that have attacked the human being. I have talked about the SARS, which came and invaded the world in the year 2002 to 2003, and we thank God that we were able to contain it. But this one is the newest of its kind, and is the first time that is entering a human being, and it's the first time that a human being is knowing about this coronavirus strain. So it's somewhat difficult for the world because there is no vaccine yet, and there is no drug. If you go to the hospital around the world, you find out that countries are making a makeshift and trying to get a mobile hospital. Countries are lacking ventilators. Countries are lacking beds because there are a whole lot of people are dying. 1,000 plus. A little less than 1,000 every day. As a matter of fact, when you watch on the television, as you're seeing a lot of coffins, and people don't even have to see their loved ones in the hospital. That's the worst part of it. People are dying, but they're dying alone without their loved ones because of how contagious this disease is, and that our loved ones cannot be in the hospital to see them die. And many people are heartbroken because they could not see their loved ones die. And we found out that the ventilators are not even enough. Even in the civilized countries, even in the United States, states are calling. They need ventilators, they need number of beds, they need a support from the federal government to help them. And coming to Africa, the situation is cropping up. Though the number of people in Africa that is infected cannot be compared to the number of people that are being infected in the civilized world. Africa is just witnessing for the first time a slight increase in the number of people that is being affected Sometimes they're able to contain it. Sometimes they're not able. There are casualties. People are dying. That's why the world needs to strategize in a different way. How do you strategize? That's a question I'm going to answer later on when I continue. So the world is the world at retreat. What is the front battle like? The front battle is like a hell. The front battle is like a hell. Doctors are there, nurses are there, seeing people die, and most of them, most times, get infected while trying to treat their patients. Many doctors have died, many nurses have died, and many patients have died, including those working in the laboratory. And even cleaners are catching it. Doctors are complaining of lack of protective gears. Even when they protect themselves, somehow they do what? They contract the disease. One of the things the doctors do before they become doctor is they take oath. This oath says, the health of my patient shall be my first preference. The health of my patient shall be my first preference. That's the oath the doctors take. So you find out that most times one will wonder that these doctors are getting infected, and why is it that some of these people, they are not scared and they're still treating people? Is because of the nature of doctors and the oath which they took. A doctor's patient shall always be his preference. The health of my patient shall be my first preference, even on the line to duty, even when it seems that people are getting infected and people are dying and many people calling off duty because they are scared. Doctors still have to be there because they want the health of their patient to be intact. So is the world at retreat? The world is somewhat a retreat because the WHO and the government of different world have encouraged their citizens who are also the soldiers in the war, because everybody is in this war. When everybody is seeing coronavirus as an enemy, and coronavirus sees everybody, any human being on earth, as an enemy to him. So everybody is now what? Involved in the war. And people are retreating in their various houses. They're so worried as were soldiers because the war is going on. And the commanders in chiefs are doing what? Directing the people who they've prepared for this war on how to be able to avoid getting infected with this coronavirus. In your houses, you're watching television, the whole world is locked down. Even those who are now easing what? They are locked down, but still put some restriction on the number of hours people stay in the market or people get their essentials. So you find that when you're at home, you're watching your TV, you're seeing adverts telling you, wash your hands regularly. Don't put your hands in your mouth. Don't put your hands or your finger in your eyes. When you sneeze, don't just sneeze without covering your face. They tell you how you sneeze. You want to rub your face. How you clean yourself with handkerchief. How you wash your hands regularly. And how you social distance. Some people social distance for just a meter. They social distance for 2 meters. Because the coronavirus can jump more than that. Could jump more than 1 meter. So the best solution is what? 2 meters. So who are at the war front? I've just mentioned it. The doctors are at the war front, and the doctors are complaining of certain equipment to be used to be able to do what? To defeat the coronavirus. A soldier cannot go to war without his guns. without his bomb, without his rocket-propelled grenade, and a whole lot of equipment. You can't just go to the enemy territory with empty-handed without having to do what? Equipped with all the ammunition in it. So that's what the doctors most times are equipped, who are in the front battle, and they are dealing it without the basic equipment of this war. Because of what? Because most companies or most countries are facing economic hardship as a result of the war. Any casualties in this war? Of course, there are many casualties. There's a poem that we did when we were in high school. Say, the casualties are not only the dead, they are well out of it. The casualties are not only those who lost persons or property. Yes, the casualties are not only the dead, the people, relations of the people who died are also casualties because they're also feeling it. The casualties are anybody that's infected in this war is a casualty. So there are casualties, human casualties, the people who are dead, people who have lost persons and property, people who are mourning, they are part of the casualties. Even the government that is losing its citizens is also a casualty. Yes, the coronavirus also is having its own casualty. The world is fighting squarely. The doctors are making to do with what they have. Sometimes they use antiretroviral drugs. Sometimes they know how to dose a patient with retroviral drugs or antiviral drugs in combination with antibiotics, because this is a serious acute respiratory syndrome and disease. So it affects you, your lungs, and you are not able to breathe on your own. That's why they need ventilators to allow them, to do what? To breathe in, and oxygens. And what the disease does to pack you, and when the lungs cannot, what the lungs are damaged, and people don't have to breathe, they struggle to breathe, and in the process they die. And it has been proven that it's affecting the kidney too, can pack, or the liver, in some of the recent studies. So, how do we win? How do the world win in this world? How will the world win in this war? The world will win this war if the world become conscious and know that the coronavirus is not just here to stay, and the world must recognize that this coronavirus is an enemy and must be tackled and must be destroyed. We must locate the enemy territory, we must target the enemy, and we must destroy the enemy. No retreat, no surrender. That is what it is all about. And how do we do it? We have to change our mentality. We have to change how we are dealing with this virus. And that brings us to the redirection to a new possible cure. And how do we do it? The direction we are following is, right now, there is no vaccine and there is no drug. Most people that are being treated are treated with what the doctors feel they can give to them. And sometimes people make it out of the hospital. When they get the treatment, they respond to the treatment because of what? Because of something I'm going to say when I get here. Why some people, they don't respond to treatment? They get admitted. In the next 48 hours or 56 hours, they cannot breathe again. They struggle to breathe. They have to bring ventilators. The lungs are packed up. And once they're on the ventilators and have passed 2 days staying on that ventilators, the chances is most times, most of the people that have stayed more than 2 days in the ventilators never come out of that ventilator. They eventually die. Eventually dies. Most of them die eventually. They don't come out. And the other person will have a symptom, mild symptom, and even will not require him to be in the hospital. Within 2 days, the symptoms have disappeared. Now the question is, what is happening? People are dying of it. People are having mild symptoms, and people are responding to treatment, and some people are asymptomatic. Now some people, they have the coronavirus, they are symptomatic, they don't have symptoms, but they are headache carriers, they're giving it to people. What is happening? There's something happening. But I just want to take the word and the mentality that is existing among the black people. The black people in the United States of America, in some United Kingdom, are thinking, why is more black dying than the white people? Does it mean that they're just pushing black doctors into into the front battle without the right equipment, and they're getting infected, they're dying more? And why is the white doctors not dying like that? But I'm going to say to you that it is not like that. There's something that is making this thing to happen. That's why we need to redirect ourselves and our work, our method of tackling this virus. In this, I wrote redirection to a new possible cure. How do we do it? Number one, since there is no vaccine and there is no drug available, studying the genome of coronavirus and what is inside of it, or what is inside the capside, should be the first thing to do. Scientists all over the world should be on the task to do what? To study this coronavirus, the structure, how you operate, how you attack people, and all kind of things about coronavirus. When you study the enemy very well, you will be able to defeat the enemy. You know the enemy's strengths and his weaknesses, and you will capitalize on his weakness and take him out. So you cannot fight the enemy without knowing who the enemy is, and without knowing the enemy territory, his location, and a whole lot. His strength, his military strength. You have to know how powerful is the virus, and you also have to do what? To know his weakness. That's number one. Using existing antiviral drugs. Yes, the doctors are doing that already. But we need to use these drugs. But there's something we got to do which we are not doing. And that is tailoring the drugs individually according to individual variation in genes and genome bank. You know, I've said this in various videos, starting from the first time I ever started this lecture from pharmacogenomics. I talked about how individuals respond to drug differently because of variation in genetic makeup among the world population. About 1% of the entire world population shows absence of the key metabolizing enzymes that metabolizes drugs. While some people have the presence of the key metabolizing enzymes, others does not have it. Some people sometimes talk about immunity, and they always say that the old people die more than the young. But I can tell you now, this is not the disease of the old people, because it is also killing the young people. 8 years old are dying, 10 years old are dying, 15 years old, 20 years old are dying. That would take your mind off it. So, not only immunity that helps you to fight this. We know that various people have different genetic makeup, and ethnicity and race has something to do with what is inside of you. And that is why the black people are thinking, why are black people dying? But the white shows variation, shows a variation, a difference in what? In how they respond to drugs. Even when you bring somebody from United States, a particular place, you bring somebody, a Hispanic person, or somebody from Britain, people have different kinds of ways of responding to drugs. And that is what is happening. The way one individual responds to drug is different from the way another individual responds to drug. That brings us to polymorphism. Polymorphism is very important. And all these things are under what? Pharmacogenomics. So polymorphism of drug metabolism is how does these differences affect how your drug metabolizes. Some people are given those drugs and they respond to it with their immunity and their genetic makeup. Now, some other people do not, because they could have shown variation or absence of the key metabolizing enzyme, and also their immunity also affected. Now, how do we solve this problem? We have to develop genome banks. We need to encourage people to go for a gene test. And we need to store these genes in the computers, and doctors will be able to access it in their GP offices or consulting rooms. So when a patient comes and talks about particular disease, they will be able to read his genome or her genome makeup and be able to know how to tailor the drug individually. So what works for you is not what's going to work for me, because me and you are not of the same genetic makeup. We know we have similar, we were all created by God, and we have the same, we have DNA, but people show some variation in DNA. People show the variation in DNA. So drugs cannot act the same way when we give it. That's why people are responding. Some people, when they go to hospital, they just get better and they are discharged. And some people never get where they die. Some people doesn't even show symptoms that will tell you there's something happening inside. And that's what we're going to make use of. Now we need to begin to tailor drugs individually. Even if you are using any antiretroviral drugs, or we're using anti-hypertensive drugs, if you are my patient and I'm your doctor, and I have various patients from different ethnic groups and from different ethnic groups and some population of people, you don't expect me that even though there's no vaccine and there's no particular drug, what I'm going to do, because the health of my patients shall always be my first preference, what I'll do is, if I'm looking at your genome, I'm going to tailor a particular drug. If I decide to give you antihypertensive drug, I'm dosing you maybe once or twice a day, 1 times 2. And I have also some antibiotics and other things I'm giving you. The next patient comes and I'm looking at their genome. I'm not going to give him antiretroviral drug, antihypertensive drug. Maybe I'm going to look, it's either increase the dose or less the dose. So with what I see in the genome bank of the person, I'm going to know if the person is having or does have an absence in the key metabolizing enzyme of that particular drug I'm trying to prescribe to him or her. Therefore, when I'm treating you, if I'm giving you antihypertensive drug, like let's say for instance, those that affect the angiotensin converting enzymes, the AC drugs, the antibiotic drugs, the angiotensin affect the angiotensin converting enzymes. If I'm giving it to you, I'm going to also make sure that when I'm dosing it in such a way that it will work for you, looking at your gene. And then after the next patient, I'm not going to give the next patient the same drug. I'm going to try something based on your own gene. So tailoring drugs individually is what? The best way to do it. As at this time, there's no cure. As at this time, there's no drug. So it's experimental. We should base our studies and our treatment on genome. So the world needs to be encouraged to do what? To tailor drugs individually. Because what works for one person is not what's going to work for another person. So targeting the metabolizing enzymes and adjusting tailored treatment that shows individual drug response. So we're going to try to find out the key metabolizing enzymes that is in a person to see if a particular drug that is tailored to the person will work out. To see if the patient have the metabolizing enzyme that can metabolize that drug you're trying to give him or her. So if we're able to know these things and begin to tailor drugs, like I said, individually, according to individual variation in gene and individual response to drug, then we will be able to do what? We'll be able to take out coronavirus even when there's no vaccine. Because the whole world is under competition. Every country of the world right now wants to be the first country to do what? To come up with a vaccine that will treat the entire world, that will vaccinate and protect the entire world. While some other scientists are also trying a particular drug, an antiviral drug in what? The one they use in Ebola disease, the FDA has approved it for doctors to begin to use it as an antiviral drug, to use it on their patient. While we are doing all these things, because vaccine will take you a period of about 8 years. Normal, if we want to do it in such a way that the patients will not suffer heavy side effects and fatal reactions. We want to look at the safety, tolerability, and safety parameters when we're talking about vaccines. So for us to have a vaccine that will not have other implications that will affect our health, we have to give it the right time. I know that the world is stressed out. I know the world is looking for an immediate solution to this, and they have to do what? Fast track the vaccine. And many research companies are getting funds now from government. Scientists are under temptation because when they see this money, a vast amount of money, they begin to claim what they cannot do at the moment. You know, scientists, because they have about $100 billion, about $50 billion of research fund, the scientists look at it as a big amount of money, and they begin to do what? And they begin to rush and try to fast track, and in the process they are trying to impress them that gave them the research fund, and in the process they come out with things which is not right, and they begin to do what? Go against the medical ethics in research. And as they try to fast track this virus, they're bound to make mistakes. It's not about trying a vaccine in a clinical trial. You can pass through the hurdle of the toxicology studies and animal tests, and the vaccine works in the animal. But when it comes to human being, it might not work. So that you see that Oxford University in so many countries are now doing the first trial in man clinical trials. It's not a guarantee that this virus will be out under 1 year. And if you're trying to get a vaccine under 1 year, remember the implication. And remember that there could be other things that comes with it. And we also talk about the informed consent forms, and the people will not be forced to take vaccine against their will or to become guinea pig for a vaccine that might be toxic in the future. We're looking at the toxicity, what comes out of the vaccine. That's what we're looking at, the toxicity of the drug or the vaccine you're taking. So hustling to get vaccine, everybody's hustling. People are claiming what they have not done. You can just, I heard in the news someone claiming that he's got a vaccine. You don't just get vaccine like that, unless you want to kill people. Most head of states and presidents are not medical researchers. They're not in clinical trials. They don't have any knowledge of medicine and research. And they will begin to pressurize their scientists and begin to claim things which is not possible. So, and to win this world, the world must have their genetics stored. This is a wake-up call for African countries, because most of the civilized countries have genes of their people stored in the genome bank. Africa, especially countries like Nigeria, need to wake up. Countries like Ghana need to wake up, and other African countries, because it seems that the people of Nigeria, or the government of Nigeria, does not have a data of its citizens and does not know the number of people in Nigeria. Everything that they say about population is just mere exaggeration. And Nigeria does not have data, even when the other countries of the world are supporting their citizens, giving them financial aid, one thing or the other. Nigeria is not doing it. And I believe that one of the reasons why the federal government of Nigeria is not helping their citizens in this time, even when they lock them down, most of the thing is not that the federal government is that cruel or wicked not to help the citizens, but because they don't have a data. If they decide to want to share money now, they don't have the data, a database, a good database that can take everybody and they'll be able to pay money into you. So it's a wake-up call for African countries to do what? To be able to equip their hospitals, which they are not equipping. They are traveling abroad, going for treatment. When the president is sick, he goes to abroad. When the ministers are sick, they go to abroad. Now, it's not only Nigeria, many African countries. And they are forgetting their hospitals to equip them and equip the doctors with all they need. It's a wake-up call for them to touch the health sector. They have a very bad health sector, and it needs to be improved. And I need to have a database, and I need to encourage citizens to do what? To go for a genetic test. It's only when we have this thing stored and the doctors can access it in their GP consulting rooms, then we'll be able to know how to tailor these drugs individually, and we'll be able to what? Begin to do what? Treat coronavirus. You can never say coronavirus might be something that can be taken out easily if we do what? If we begin to tailor drugs. If we can find out that there are a lot of existing drugs out there that can cure coronavirus right now. It's just that the world is under confusion and trapped, and everybody's saying one thing or the other, and the direction is only focused. Almost 90% of the focus is vaccine. So the world is looking towards vaccine and also not looking into the curing drugs as well. So what we have existing, we can use it to cure coronavirus if we do what? We'll bring pharmacogenomics in place. If we bring pharmacogenomics in place, pharmacogenomics is a study of all the individual genes that affect drug response. So pharmacogenomics is the future of drug research. And I've done a lecture on pharmacogenomics. And pharmacogenomics is also the future of coronavirus cure. We cannot take it out. That's the truth about it. So, in summary, in this part 2, I said coronavirus at war with the world. Coronavirus is an enemy number 1 of the world. Coronavirus is an alien that attacked the world. Why is coronavirus winning the war? I talked about it. Is the world at retreat? Or many people are in their various houses doing what? Taking cover. And while some people are in the war front. The doctors. What is the front battle like? The front battle is serious. There's been a lot of casualties in the front battle. Who are the war front? Who are at the war front? I said the people at the war front are the doctors, the nurses, and entire medical teams. Are there any casualties? Yes, there are casualties on both sides. And casualties, according to the poem, the casualties are not only the dead. The casualties are not only those who lost persons or properties. So the casualties are both the person, some people that lost their persons, and the people that are mourning, and the people that lost their persons and their businesses out of this coronavirus. So I said even coronavirus is also having its own casualties. Most times people are getting out and coronavirus is killed. So how do we win the world war we are facing right now? And I said we'll win the world war by doing what? By redirecting our focus. Not having our eyes too much on the vaccine. And we'll forego the other areas, which will do what? Be the fastest way to deal with the coronavirus, which is what we call polymorphism, pharmacogenomics, and what we call about tailoring drugs individually. In our talk, they say, when we redirect, we're studying the genome of coronavirus, have to know the structure very well. We have to know what is inside the capside, and I'm using the existing antiviral drugs. But when we are using existing antiviral drugs, we must first of all know the genome of the individuals, and we'll begin to tailor this drug to them. Because one way an individual reacts to drug is different from another way the individual reacts to drug. What works for you might not be what works for me. Because there's what is inside of you, your genome maker, though we are human beings the same, but there's a variation in this genome. Even in our DNA, there's variation. Some people shows absence of these key metabolizing enzymes and other things that can affect drug response. So that's why we have to tailor drugs and adjusting this tailoring to individuals. And the doctors who have sworn an oath that the health of my patient shall be my first preference are actually carrying out their oaths and in the hospital risking their life. So we need to wake up. We need to wake up if we are to win this war. We must have our genes stored, and we must now recognize the need for us to look more into pharmacogenomics than hustling to get a vaccine. And in the process of getting the vaccine, we getting some vaccine that might be toxic in the future, killing people. So ladies and gentlemen, that comes to the end of this lecture. The War of Viruses, Who Wins, Part 2. My name is Timothy Ekwebelem, and I would advise you to subscribe to my channel, Timothy Ekwebelem. And when you are subscribing, you should look at the top corner of the website. There's a bell there. Just click on the bell after you have subscribed. I will strongly advise you to subscribe to my channel, because there will be so many things that will be coming from me that need to wisen you up. You don't have to be a medical doctor. You don't have to be in the medical research or a scientist to be able to know what I'm teaching. You don't have to say that I'm not in the medical to what's the need, what is this lecture for? But you should know that with all that I've taught you and all that I'm bringing to you will wisen you up and make you to understand how drugs are formed, what you take when you're in the hospital, and how the processes that it takes, and your rights of consent to participating in these vaccines and other things that involve in this coronavirus. There will be many topics that will be coming up from me, and I promise you that I will keep you and your eyes focused watching what I'm going to be showing to you. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for listening. And thank you so much for having to stay this long from the beginning of this video to the end. May God bless you, and may God protect you from this coronavirus. Thank you very much, and God bless you.